Things change over time. That's just the fact of existence, really. Video game graphics get better as technology improves. The sun expanding to the point where it will eventually engulf our world as it expands beyond our planet's orbit. Words like yeet being added to the dictionary. Change can be gradual, like the inevitable heat death of the universe, or it can be sudden, like shaving your head in a moment of existential panic. The reaction your friends will give upon seeing you, after you do that, will be something along the lines of, "Oh, shit! Okay. Why'd you do that?" Which, coincidentally, is the same exact reaction I had upon seeing the design change of the new R1. While said design change happened in 2015, that is not the production year of the motorcycle pictured here. No, the subject of this video is the 2016 Yamaha R1S, which, fun fact, according to the VIN, is the 4th one ever made. If that's what that means, I don't know. Now, let me explain myself. The last generation of R1, one of which I covered in a video 3 years ago, has a less jarring looking face, which is more pleasant to look at. Like, the new R1, honestly, just looks like it decided to do this. That's all I could see when I first saw this thing. Once the LED strips turned on, its appearance got better, but yeah, bad first impression. Apparently, they did it to make it look more like the M1, the MotoGP bike, but whatever. Let me change the subject before I turn this entire review into a rant about headlight placement. The R1S was Yamaha's answer to the bike community going, why fast bike a lot money? The more advanced sport bikes became, what with their state-of-the-art electronics and lightweight materials, the more expensive they would be as a result. The regular everyday rider would see a hot new 1000cc superbike and go, oh man, that thing costs 3/4 of my annual salary, thus restricting would-be buyers to YouTube personalities, or older riders who have no problems dealing with the horrible engineering design of the human knee. Yamaha noticed that most of the male, age 20 to 35 demographic were not buying new bikes, but instead buying older, used bikes, so they sought out to make a more affordable version of the R1 to cater to this group, thus presenting the regular everyday rider with an actual attainable brand new leader bike. They did this by changing a few things, the understanding being that this bike is going to be primarily for street use. For example, do you need a magnesium oil pan for the street? No. That level of weight saving is more suited for track day use by riders who can actually feel the difference that makes, and not the riders who think bikes are just unicycles with a training wheel attached. The R1S switched most of the lightweight parts for more cost-effective ones, switching the connecting rods from fracture-split titanium to steel, oil pan, engine covers, and wheel rims from magnesium to aluminum, and having stainless steel exhaust headers instead of the titanium ones on the standard R1. All of these changes add up to just 9 pounds. That's the difference between the R1S and the R1. That, and because of the changed internal parts, the rev limit has been reduced to 12,200 RPM as opposed to the 14K on the standard. Monetarily, that puts the difference at 1,500 between the two. Unless you factor in the yellow one, then the difference is 2,000. So yes, if you think about it, if you want a brand new bike, you're still gonna have to pay brand new bike money. So what else do you get for a 15K motorcycle? Fully customizable power settings for one. If you don't like how the 4 included riding modes were put together, you can change them to however you see fit. Want to set it to maximum engine power and maximum traction control? Go ahead. Will it confuse itself? Maybe. You just told it to let loose with reckless abandon, but with caution. That makes sense. It's a selectable option, so who gives a shit? Handling wise, this R1 felt solid going down the road, to the point that it kinda resisted leaning over at first. We didn't check the tire pressures before we went out. Yes, I know, MSF 101, so I'm not positive if that's why it didn't feel as nimble as I thought it would. That is until I decided to give it a good countersteer push going through a roundabout and nearly hurled my face into the ground. With that being said, my initial impression of the handling of the R1S is tame and docile until it isn't. Now, as you might have noticed looking at the clips in this video, not everything is stock on this certain model. The owner has done quite a bit of work to it, both cosmetically and internally, which is why I've yet to mention the performance stats in this review so far. I'll include the full list of modifications he gave me in the description down below. The main and most noticeable modification being a Graves 3/4 cat eliminator exhaust with a custom flash and engine map by Graves Motorsports, specifically made for this bike. The power increase comes out to, at the wheel by the way, 170 horsepower. To put that into perspective, the stock R1S has been documented at 152 at the wheel, and the R1 at 164. Even with the lower rev limit, on paper, this R1S is more powerful than a stock R1. He also installed an up and down quick shifter for A mode only. And let me tell you, the auto blip downshifts on this crossplane engine produce a sound that sends me directly to my happy place. So No, this is not a straight from the showroom floor stock R1S. My apologies if you thought that, but to be fair, the first line of the description for this video says that it isn't stock, so regardless, this is a fantastic motorcycle and I wish I had more time with it, only to get a better feel of the cornering capabilities of this chassis. City riding, it's great. Highway riding, it's great. Back road riding, it's fantastic. I didn't have any comfort issues. It's way more comfortable than the previous generation of R1 if that says anything, and I will admit, the looks have grown on me. I like the aggressive styling, droopy eyes notwithstanding. Like I said before, the LED strips greatly help the looks in that aspect. Just be sure to have those on. All the time. Final thoughts on this bike? One word. Yes.
It sounds so good.
When you downshift, it sounds good on my end. It's like burp, burp.
And then just the pops coming back. Oh man, it sounds so good.